in the schedule. Before that, I'd like to request Honorable Minister of Industry, Nabindra Raj Joshi ji, to address his special remarks to this conference. So thank you.
Actually, I have to go to some other places and I have some commitment in the evening, so I couldn't stay a long time here. Chair of session, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, namaste and very good evening to you all. It's an immense pleasure for me to have a role of formally, actually, they asked me to closing in the closing ceremony. I don't think that's the closing ceremony, but and we're near to the closing ceremony, and it has been very important. I believe that the whole day you have discussed on the revisiting Nepal foreign policy in contemporary global power structure, and I believe that it has been very useful. And I will assure you that the government of Nepal will take your suggestions and will try to take an exclusive reference. It will be an exclusive reference to the government to meet Nepal's foreign policy objectives and goals. Of course, basically, we have been witnessing the very change in recent international order. And as an expert, to all the experts, I would like to tell that we should imagine that what is the relation of the countries after 10 years, after 5 years. What should the policy we should form now and look forward after 10 or 15 years. So imagining that type of relation will also, I think, help, because now every nation looks for itself and the world is changing. The political, if you realize in the recent years, 2-3 years, we have seen that. And lastly, the Brexit, we have seen that. So there is some change in our politics. There is some change in the foreign policy and so our experts should be able to analyze that. What really works after 5 years, 3 years, where we are, and what should the policies should do. Basically now, even now we're trying to focus on we had an international summit on the last March 2nd and 3rd. And on the summit we have seen that around 24 countries they participated in the summit. And I talked with most of the ambassadors of Nepal who are in the country, different countries. And I asked them, request them, humbly requested to His Excellencies that, please, this is your responsibility, that you will be given some task to the other ambassadors who are outside the country, who are anywhere in the part of the world. So their task is that, okay, with the diplomatic relation, you should promote the economics also. That's where, and I'm very happy to tell you all here that they have really worked hard, and they have invited the business people in the embassy. And even after this March 2nd and 3rd, I was in Japan, where the Japanese embassy has organized, our Nepalese embassy has organized investor summit. Then in London also, I was in London last week, and they have also organized it. So certain things that, politically, how should we define these foreign policy is, I think, that what the time change demands. And I see that there's just a lot of challenges. This challenge of Nepal is now that how we grow economically. Both the neighbor countries, they are economically actually now being dumped. And have we been able to take the advantage of that? What actually, the policy we should follow. I think that we should also focus on those areas. Might be we have already discussed on these areas. So there has been changes in political, economic, and social structure. Then another is like sometimes it's said that the sentiment of the people the sentiment of the people is more important than the evidence itself. The sentiment now of the people of Nepal basically is that how can we economically prosper? There is all the potentialities that we have. And we have seen in the history that we have been able to use our different strategies, for the foreign policy, for the foreign relations, we have been able to use our different strategies. And now the focus is in the economies, that the prosperity is what we demand. And basically after this pronouncement of the promulgation of our constitution, now the whole focus is on the economic side. The BP, I would like to mention here the BP Korala, who said that until and unless the nation prospers. When he became the Prime Minister in 1960, after that he told, his statement was, until and unless the nation prospers, there is no meaning of any citizen who prospers or not. So it always depends on the nation. If the nation is prosper, sometimes I go to in the airport, I see that. Whenever they see that Nepali passport, they will behave in a different way. So I think that the whole, the foreign policy also should address on these things. I'm not so much knowledgeable in the foreign policy, but I think that the foreign policy should cover that. And then with various opportunities, when the changes in the world, this political, economic, and social issues, we have also opportunities and we have also challenges. There is always challenges. But I think that when I see the people, the intellectuals, the young people who work, I think that we can really face the challenges. There is every possibility that we can face any challenges. So where we have not been able to, where we missed our, the whole prosperity or the whole thing, is that what we have to find out. But 500 to 600,000 young people are in the market every year, where we have the intellectuals. I see that Nepalese intellectuals working in the USA, in the UK, in the Japan, and everywhere you can find the intellectuality of the Nepalese people. So I think that we can meet those challenges, any challenges, and foreign policy of any nation is considered as the key to promote the national interest of the country, and it must remain free from any sorts of ambiguity. In such context, it is vital to have at least common minimum consensus among all the major political parties, and I believe that in our case, after the promulgation of the constitution, even in the summit, we saw that all the political parties leaders have committed that now we are at one place for the economic growth of the country, on the economic issues of the country, and I believe that. All the political parties, the commitment of the political parties and the leaders are for the betterment of the life of the people. That's a commitment of all every political parties. And I see that in most of the cases, there has been no differences in this foreign policy. Even if we analyze the government of different parties, even different parties, that coalition government is there, but we have I think the stable foreign policy. We try to do that. So I believe that major political parties have a common minimum consensus on this foreign policy, so that we can deal with the high confidence in a bilateral negotiation and of course in the international forum. The landlocked nature of our geophysical positioning has always played imperative role in determining our foreign policy. The very shifting global power structure in Asia, especially with the rise of India and China, the significance of Nepal's location is also ever increasing, basically in the context of Asian power balance. And I always talk about that, you know. Nepal is a great market. Nepal is a small country. Nepal is not a place where just you look for the 30 million people. Now we have the market of India and China. Both the only road approach is from we can approach from India and China is Nepal. So I think we must, due to the global power shift, Nepal has tremendous opportunities to receive, but at the same time Nepal has to also deal with the increased level of sensitivity, and we understand that sensitivity. We must address the genuine security and other concerns of the immediate neighbors while receiving confidence in our foreign policy dealings. We have to also equally engage in regional and international forum for promoting mutual interest and shared benefits. Moreover, economic diplomacy is considered as one of the key pillars of our foreign policy. Very recently, Nepal had completed, as I said, 2 summits, one on infrastructure and another in Brisbane. I would like to share the reflection of those 2 summits with these gatherings. I commend Asian Institute of Diplomacy and International Affairs, AIDIA, organizing this conference in cooperation with Midwestern University in the subject matter of great importance. I am confident that the outcome of this critical discussion amidst the distinguished gathering will be the assets for executive reference to the government of Nepal. Once again, thank you. Thank you.